So welcome to this fantastic edition of your favorite health show on campus, Time with the Dietitian. Preventive nutrition is crucial to life, and a healthy diet is crucial, especially in reducing a number of complications. So today we have an astute dietitian, Pastor Prince Baidoo, who is a registered dietitian, and I'm privileged to introduce him to this platform to talk to us about nutrition and heart health. Before we proceed, shall we begin with a word of prayer? Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you so much for this opportunity. It is my prayer that you will help us and give us the grace to continue this and to have a perfect program. In the name of Jesus, I will pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Please, can I be heard?
Amen.
Can I get feedback? Can I be heard? Hello,
Yes,
can I be heard?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so today our dietitian will be in the person of Pastor Prince Baidoo, the dietitian at Tema General Hospital. He has a wealth of experience in medical nutrition therapy, and he will be glad to have him on our platform. RD Prince, welcome to our program. Welcome to the platform, KNUST Time with the Dietitian. Please, you can go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Japon. I guess my voice is clear.
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Sure. I would want to say a very big thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Can I go on, please?
Yes, please.
Yes,
I can
you
hear
can
you.
go on.
Yes, please. Let's please. Thank you so much. I'm glad to see Professor Ibokodro on the call. I want to say a very big thank you to the committee or the wellness team of KNUST. This is a great innovation, and I trust that all other institutions will also have some. I want to also say a big thank you and express my appreciation for your choice of me to speak on this very important subject matter. I believe that by the time we are done, we would have learned a thing or two to help us preserve and protect our hearts. And if maybe for one or two reasons there's an issue with our hearts already, we'll be able to see how we can manage that. All right, so as Dr. Japon mentioned already, my name is Prince Baidoo, and I would begin. All right, so I will give a brief introduction, then I will zero in on heart-sensitive nutrients, then I'll talk about heart-protective foods, then the heart-healthy meal plan, and I will conclude. So to begin with, the heart, as we know just briefly, is like a fist-sized organ at the chest of humans. So like the children will have about one fist size. At the adulthood, it will be like two fist sizes put together. That will be about the size of the heart. And it is a very critical organ because of its function. It pumps blood throughout the body, and it does so in a network that we normally would term as the circulatory system. So it works with the blood vessels to pump blood to from the toe of our being to the brain, right? And it doesn't do only that. It also coordinates with the nervous system, and the endocrine system to direct or regulate the rate at which the heart beats, and also the blood pressure, regulate the blood pressure. So the heart is at the center of pumping blood and regulating the rate at which it beats, and also the blood pressure in collaboration with the nervous system and the endocrine system. So this key tree here is very important. I gleaned it from the NCD Alliance, Non-Communicable Disease Alliance, and it shows a very important place of the heart, because when you look at the tree, we see the key non-communicable diseases: heart disease and stroke, diabetes, cancer, chronic lung diseases, and other non-communicable diseases. And we see that all these non-communicable diseases would have physical inactivity, alcohol abuse, tobacco use, and unhealthy diet as the key risk factors for these diseases. But the heart and its accompanying diseases, they peak among the entire chronic diseases. So we see that the leading cause of death globally, as WHO reports in 2019, is ischemic heart disease, followed by stroke. And we see that heart diseases and stroke, they move together. So even when we are putting the diseases alone, we see that the ischemic heart disease tops is the leading cause of diseases of death worldwide, then a stroke and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So we see that the heart is important for us to discuss it this evening. So we see the low to middle income countries, the leading cause of death in lower middle income countries like Ghana now is also ischemic heart disease. Then the leading causes of death in Ghana, top among the females, is stroke. Stroke is first, neonatal condition second, and ischemic heart disease is third. Then when we come to the males, we have lower respiratory infections first, neonatal condition second, HIV is third, and ischemic heart disease fourth. So in the first five of the leading causes of death in our country, the heart disease also appears. It is third for females, fourth for males. And when we put ourselves into the global basket, it tops in the lower to lower middle income countries and the global stage as well. So having spoken about these, the place of the heart and what the diseases that are accompanied or that are linked to the heart do to us as humans, and the heart diseases being the leading cause of diseases, we see here that the heart is very sensitive to nutrients, especially some nutrients. So we have the heart is very sensitive to fat, omega-3 fatty acids, monounsaturated fats. These are fats that are produced by given foods that we will talk about very soon. But I want us to take notice of them. Omega-3 fatty acids, monounsaturated fats, saturated fats. All these fats are nutrients that the heart is very sensitive to. Then we have the low density lipoprotein, what we normally will refer to as the bad cholesterol. The heart is very sensitive to it. Triglycerides, all these are fats. The heart is sensitive to it. And even though the cholesterol generally is required by the body at levels that are higher than recommended, they can be very damaging to the heart. So we have triglycerides, which is also another type of fat, the blood fat, which also would have to be in the blood at an optimum level. When it exceeds the level, it can also be very, very detrimental to the heart. We have the trans fat. That is the fat that normally you will see in the foods that are in margarines, hardened margarines, hard margarines, or deep fried foods or baked foods. So this fat also is the heart is sensitive to this kind of fat. Then we have what we call polyphenols and antioxidants. These are in some of our very good spices, and the colored fruits and vegetables. So we have some in the apples and all those ones we'll talk about subsequently. Then we have the sodium normally from salt and preserved foods. The heart is sensitive to it. The heart is also very sensitive to potassium, which is also found in fruits and vegetables, folate in vegetables, and soluble fiber. The heart is very sensitive to soluble fiber and a lot more other nutrients. So this is just to give us a picture that whatever we are putting in our mouth, whatever we are swallowing, whatever we are deciding on to eat at every mealtime, it is going to produce nutrients in the body that will be helpful or hurtful to the heart. So it's very important that we take this picture, or we keep this picture in our minds as we move on. So we see that the foods that we will say are heart protective, the foods that are heart protective, which will be drawing from the nutrients we just spoke about. We'll be discussing them in under the various umbrellas. And here we have the fruits. So all fruits are heart protective, especially. So what we are saying is that it is good to be eating fruits, including the fruits that we are showing here. So the berries, the blackberry, the raspberry, the blueberry have been found to be very, very good to the heart. We have the red grapes, watermelon, oranges, pawpaw, apples, and bananas. They have been found to be very good for heart health, right? So these are not the exhaustive fruits, but whichever fruits you choose to eat, this one is the grapes, the grapefruit. So whichever fruits you decide to eat, these must be inclusive. Very, very, very important. So if you find yourself in Ghana, we have our oranges, our pawpaw, our bananas. We have the apples. In fact, all these fruits are here, but the blueberries, the berries, raspberry, the blackberry, and the blueberries are not very, very common because they are not indigenous. So when you find yourself outside the country where there are a lot, you eat a lot. When you are in Ghana, you take a lot of the fruits that we have here, so that we have a mix-up of the fruits which have been found to be very protective of the heart. Then we also have the vegetables of all colors. Vegetables of all colors they are very, very good, and they are protective of the heart. So we have the bitter leaves, the turkey berries, the tomatoes, carrots, contomere, the purple and green cabbage. We have the lettuce, the dandelion, and the loofah fruit. This is a typical indigenous Ghanaian vegetable that is very, very, very heart protective. So if you find it in your locality and if you find it in the market, please buy it and try. Then we have the okra. So all vegetables are healthy for to the heart, and including these ones. So whatever vegetable or whichever ones you pick, you would have to include these vegetables as well, right? So we have found out that the heart is very important. The heart plays a central role in our health, and now we are seeing foods that really protect the heart. So now we come to the proteins. So all fish, poultry, low-fat dairy products, so low-fat milk, low-fat cheese, and the likes, legumes, and lean meats that do not have any visible fat on them, are very protective of the heart. So if you have to select any protein, we have to select these. So we have our herrings, the salmon, we have eggs, we have the lentils, walnuts, hazelnuts have been found to be and groundnuts They are very, very helpful to the heart. We have the sardines, the salmon, the beans of all kinds and colors, and the tofu. These are very, very good sources of protein. Then if we have to choose and select any proteins, these are the proteins we look at, including the others, that the other legumes, then meats with no visible fat, low dairy, low poultry, and all fish. So whichever protein sources you pick from here, they must include these: the oily fishes, the lentils, legumes, and the nuts. They are very helpful for our health, and they are protective of the heart. So we come to the carbohydrate foods. So the carbohydrate foods that are heart protective, we have the legumes. The legumes we spoke of among the proteins, it also features here because legumes are almost 50-50 in terms of their combination, the amount of carbohydrates and amount of proteins, and the very generous amount of fiber that it places legumes in a different category. Very healthy meals that can be found, or they crisscross the various food groups. So legumes are important sources of they are an important source of carbohydrates, minimally processed cereals, grains, and starches. So these are very good sources that we can pick as we choose foods to prepare our meals for a healthy heart. So we have the quinoa here. We have the lentils once again. We have the oats, wheat, rice, and corn. We have them here, very healthy. We have the fonio here, healthy source of carbohydrates. Then we have the beans as well. The beans also appear here. Then we have the starches, minimally processed. So we have the potatoes, the yams, the cassavas, and the taro roots. Very, very healthy, the cocoyams, for as part of the choices we can make as our protein sources to protect our hearts. So we now come to the fishes. Now, when we talk about the various food groups and the food types that one must eat to be healthy, we are continually and progressively de-emphasizing on oils, because we encourage, like earlier when I talk about the proteins, the selection of oily fishes, selection of nuts. These are they are foods that are full of oil. So if we select them as part of our meals, morning, afternoon, evening, we may not necessarily even have to pour oil in our meals. But if we have to use oil, these are the healthy sources, and these are the heart protective oils. So cold fish oils, so the oils from herrings, sardine, and the mackerel, as we saw, the mono and polyunsaturated fats, and also moderate amount of tropical oil. So we have the pear, avocado pear, a very rich source of monounsaturated fatty acids. We have the peanut oil and the olive oil. So if we have to directly introduce oils to our foods, moderate intake of the tropical oil, so palm kernel oil, red oil, coconut oil, can be used for our foods, especially so that as we don't recommend generous or profuse usage of oil, when we use them in small amounts, it is healthy. It can keep us. The reason is that our tropical oils also have some amount of saturated fats, which are linked to the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL. So it's very important that whenever we are using them, they are used in moderate or very sparing amount, right? So these are oils that are very, very, very low in saturated fat, but they have a lot of mono unsaturated fat, which rather improves the good cholesterol, which is the HDL, high density lipoproteins. And however, even though they are healthy, they also have quite an amount of energy, like all oils. So if we are using them and we use them in excess, they can contribute to weight gain as well. And once the weight goes up, the risk of having pressure or diabetes also increase. And once there's pressure, there's diabetes, the vessels become compromised and you may have a heart disease. So these are all to be taken in context. And I think we'll talk about it keenly when we get to how we will plan our heart healthy diet. Right, so we have to watch these foods very, very well. And either we avoid or limit the intake, right? We avoid or limit the intake considerably. So we have these foods, the pastries, sugar sweetened beverages, sausages and hot dogs, energy drinks. They have high levels of sodium and caffeine, right? We have the seafoods, sea crabs, sea oysters, shrimps and lobsters. They are high in sodium and their cholesterol content are also high. We have the momoni, high in sodium, high in salt. The fatty cut of meat, fatty cut, the meat with very huge quantities of fat embedded in them or around them. We have our Kobe, the very, very high in sodium. Then the offals, the intestines, the towels, and the others, they are full, their direct cholesterol levels are high and their saturated fat levels are also high. Then we have the organ meat. We have the organ meat here. Then white bread and other related pastries. We have the squid. The squid is a delicacy in Ghana. A lot of people like it. Add to akinke and other things. It's also a very key seafood that is high in sodium as well. Then we have the kako, another salted delicacy in Ghana. These foods must be watched carefully because they are either providing too much saturated fat, too much direct dietary cholesterol, or too much salt. Very, very important. Right. So now that we have known the various foods that are heart protective and the various foods that can hurt the heart, how do we situate them in planning whatever we choose to eat? Very important. How do we situate them? So we normally would use this heart healthy meal plan. In having a heart healthy meal plan, we use this healthy eating food steps to guide us. So before I go on to this, we can never speak about healthy eating without talking about physical activity because it's interrelated. If your digestive system will be will work very well, if your body will release enough endorphins and enough hormones to keep the system active and burn much more energy, physical activity is very important. A walk of at least 3 hours a week is recommended. And normally when we talk about healthy eating, sometimes we will ignore water. Drinking very clean and good potable water, it's very crucial also with heart health. Remember, the heart pumps blood and the blood must not be compromised in terms of its fluidity, and water is very crucial. So if you are above 60 years, maybe at least 2 liters of water minimum a day, apart from the liquids that you would take in terms of your soups or porridges. But below 60 to about 20 years, at least 3 liters of water a day, and that will be very helpful to you. You can do more, but the minimum is 3 liters. That for the teenagers, they may go way beyond 3 liters because of physical activity and how their metabolic rate is. Now, having spoken about exercise and water, we can now come back to look at how we can have a healthy, a heart-healthy meal plan. So, like you can see here, this one depicts the fruits and vegetables I spoke about. They are very crucial for the general health and the health of the heart. So, whatever we are selecting to eat morning, afternoon, evening, should we come and assess what you have eaten throughout the day, we should weigh more vegetables and fruits than any other food you have eaten. If the converse is true, then you might not have eaten well. Very important. So your carbohydrate sources we spoke about must sit on your vegetables and fruits. So if your meals are carbohydrate are heavy on carbohydrates and less on your vegetables, then we have a challenge. We are not eating to protect the heart. So a lot of fruit and vegetables, whether you are using it for your stew or your soup, or you are using it as fresh vegetables, adding it to your bread or your rice or any other food you are taking. Then we come here, our healthy protein sources, low fat dairy products, our lean meats, and the fish, oily fishes, and the legumes. Very crucial. We see that as we progress up, the steps reduces in length. The steps they reduce in length. So it's very important that we see that how we put the food together. Sometimes you can see someone who is eating tennis ball size of banku with 2 large palm sizes of tilapia. So you see that the combination now becomes different. The fish moves from this step and comes down here, because the vegetables will be in a small pepper, a small container of pepper or black pepper that sometimes also have some high salt laden spices in it. So it's very important that we select foods and pick small at a time. We are not designed to eat too heavily at a time. Small meals at a time is very important. Then we see the avocado, the olive oil that we showed, and the peanut oils, and the other tropical oils in small quantities also up here. As and when we want to add oils to our food, these are recommended foods or recommended oils to use. So anytime we are selecting food, let this picture of this healthy food step be on your mind, so that you know what to select, you know what to choose. If you find yourself at a buffet and you have to fetch your own food, you know how much of what to fetch, so that your heart will be protected. Then I think this one gives us the perspective of how we can eat to protect our heart. So what have I said so far? I've said that the heart is a critical organ of the body, and that the heart diseases are the leading cause of death worldwide. Then the heart is sensitive to several food nutrients. We say that it can be protected by eating lots of vegetables and fruits and healthy food sources from carbohydrate, proteins, and fats and oils. Then we saw that the heart can be damaged by unhealthy food sources such as high fat and high sodium foods, and that the heart healthy meal plan can be done with the healthy food steps. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your audience. I'll be available for any questions or clarification.
Thank you very much, Pastor Prince Baidoo, for the wonderful presentation. So please, you can type your questions. I'll give way for us to ask some questions, but before I do so, I have some announcements that I want to share. So this production is being brought to you by the KNUST Wellness Centre. It's located close to the swimming pool from Conti Supermarket. From Conti Roundabout to the swimming pool, you can see the signboard just close to the swimming pool. So you can come there every time that you need to speak to a dietitian. Actually, you can book an appointment with our dietitian on Wednesday 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and she's available to attend to you. Also, when dietitian RD Prince was talking, he talked about physical activity, and tomorrow there is an opportunity for us to walk at the KNUST Wellness Centre starting 5:30 a.m. So you would want to be a part of that experience as well. So at this point, if you have any questions, you can type them, or you can also unmute your mics and ask. Thank you. Let me see, I think there is a question here. Okay, so from Dr. Edward Yeboah, he's asking, the timing in eating cannot be ignored in the march towards protective heart. What are the do's and don'ts in time for eating and the quantum? I don't know if, so he wants to know the timing of eating when it comes to heart health.
Very, very, very important. Thank you. Thank you so much for drawing my attention to that. The timing is crucial, as you have said. So remember that all that we are talking about is whatever you are putting in must protect the blood vessels inside your heart and outside the heart, and also must protect your heart rate and must protect the blood pressure. So these three things will either make your heart healthy or not. How does the timing of eating affect these three? One, so we know that it's important that the meals that we eat your breakfast will be from the time you wake up to about 8 a.m. Your first meal must be gone. Then between 4 to 6 hours of that, you take your lunch. So you could do your lunch between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., depending upon when you took your first meal, right? Then 4 to 6 hours after that, you take your dinner. We know that the meals we take are also sensitive to the heart, to the sun. So there are a lot of publications that show that when we eat late, because mostly we are very sedentary, it is not that when you eat, we normally will hear that when you eat, you sit for a while within 2 hours, then before you sleep. It's not about the sitting, but it's about the utilization. So when we eat and it is late in the night and it moves, we move from our meals to sleep, we have a lot of glucose in the blood that results in insulin spike. So your insulin level spike. And there's a lot of evidence to show that there is a link between insulin spikes and heart health over time. So we recommend that by 5 o'clock plus or minus 1 hour, 6 o'clock, your last meal should be gone. The body is designed in such a way that when you feel or when you eat enough, when the amount of energy it requires has been given it will hardly push you to eat again. What normally happens is that people will not eat breakfast. Their first meal is in the afternoon. Then their second meal is around 5 o'clock. So around 10 p.m., they are hungry to eat again. But if we will follow and eat all our meals within the daytime, from rising up to 6 p.m., all your meals should have been taken. That will be protective of that. By the time you are sleeping by 8, 9, 10, you have very low glucose in the blood. That will prevent insulin hikes. So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., you take your 3 meals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for those insights. So there's another question. Someone is asking the food you recommend for an individual whose blood group is A positive.
All right. So there's a lot of work after Dr. Diadamo published his book, Eating Right for Your Type. A lot of ideas from the book, as in whether we must actually eat for our blood types. That is a postulation Dr. Diadamo has not, or is yet to prove. It's just a hypothesis. So for us as dietitians, we don't link blood group to diet. We link food choices, healthy meal plans to your diet. However, if you eat any food and your body rejects it, we recommend you to stop eating it and eat the alternative. So I will recommend healthy food as the steps showed, more vegetables and fruit, moderate intake, more intake of the carbohydrates, rich carbohydrate sources, moderate intake of protein, and sparing intake of fat and oil. That is the recommendation I'll give.
Thank you very much for those insights. Please, Doris Ekuyabuatin, doctor, is also asking that can olive oil be used for high frying?
Okay, so for a long time, there had been the issue of olive oil having a very low smoking point. But then it depends on the type of oil. If you are using the extra virgin olive oil, the smoking point is actually very high. So you could actually use it to fry. But if you are using the refined olive oil, the very yellow ones and the ones that the common ones that are a little even cheaper, then we don't recommend the frying with it because it smokes, the smoking point is low. Yes, so olive oil, extra virgin olive oil could be used to fry. But heart protective diets do not include deep fried food. So we don't even encourage you to fry foods regularly. But if you are doing your shallow fry, you want to fry your egg, or you want to smear your oil and maybe air fry it or roast it, that is fine. But deep frying is not really encouraged. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So Dr. Edward Yeboah says that it is said that some level of red wine is good for the heart. However, some recent studies have dismissed this assertion. Which way then for some level of, so I think this person wants to find out the level of red wine that can be taken according to research. I didn't get the last part.
All right, so I will start from this angle. Intake of alcohol, a regular intake and intake beyond what is normally the WHO will say is allowable amount those who take alcohol should take, have been linked to heart health, because alcohol actually is atherogenic. It destroys the inner walls of the arteries. And once the inner walls are destroyed, cholesterol deposits increase. And once cholesterol deposits increase, you are likely to have atherosclerosis, which may result in heart attack or stroke later. So it's important that we clarify that alcohol is not heart protective. Now, when you look at the research with the wine, the wine, red wine, the active ingredient that helps the heart is the quercetins, and they are rather what comes from the grapes, not the alcohol, right? So the wine has been fermented, and we have alcohol as byproduct. But then, if the active ingredient is from the grape, then as a dietitian, in keeping with the heart protective diet, I rather recommend red grapes than red wine.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so there's a question that's linked to physical activity. Maybe she will need a little bit of clarification. She says, this is from Mr. Adams or Dr. Adams. He says that there is this saying that eating after 8 p.m. is bad for your health. Is it because of the absence of physical activity? What about people who work in the night? Is it also good for someone who eats in the afternoon and immediately goes to sleep? Is it also good for someone to eat in the afternoon and immediately goes to sleep? Yeah,
so these are very, very contentious issues. I think in the nutrition sphere and the medical sphere, there has been very various or diverse thoughts and ideas on it. Okay, so this is what I will say. One, we know that the levels of our enzymes and hormones that play key roles in metabolism, the levels are very high during the daytime because there are a lot of work that has been done, linking the circadian rhythm to the second, linking the circadian rhythm to the metabolism, right? So when the sun is up, we know that the levels of the various hormones and enzymes are also high. Now, we know that when the sun goes down, the levels of these enzymes also drop. Now, so if it drops, then we ask ourselves, the person who is working during the day and the person working during the night, both of them will burn some amount of energy, but the rate will be slower in the night. And usually when we are doing walks in the night, how long can we walk? Assuming you ate very huge amounts of carbohydrates also that have sprung a lot of glucose in your blood, you realize that you may not walk enough even to burn or cause much of your glucose to be assimilated. So the danger of insulin spike is still real. And if that happens, then you are not helping your heart, because with time, your heart may be diseased. So we say that those who are working in the night, usually they are not doing brisk or active work, except a few. Most people are sedentary workers who are awake. They are awake in the night and working with their brain or minimal activity. So there's a way we manage such people too. We have had several clients who work in the night, but they still eat within the 12-hour window of the day, and they drink their water. If anything, if you have to eat anything at night, then pure leafy vegetable salad, which gives you more of potassium and less of sodium, may be helpful instead of eating a main meal. Over, Dr. Japan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this is from Dr. Vicentia. She's asking if coconut oil is healthy for us.
Yes, when I was talking about the oils, I said coconut oil is part of the tropical oils that have quite a substantial amount of saturated fat, which have been linked to the increase in LDL, which is the low density lipoprotein, which is the bad cholesterol. So we say that moderate intake is key. So medium chain fatty acids and others are found in the coconut oil, but when you take them in excess, because sometimes the issue we have is that people say coconut oil is good, so some of them even drink it. Some drink it just like that, and when we drink it and it's much, it can cause trouble. So small amount, after you have selected your fat from the cold fish oils, from the nuts, the little you want to add or sprinkle over your salad or use, yes, you can use coconut oil, but not in huge quantities that you could actually see on top of your stews.
Okay, thank you very much. Moderation is key. Thank you very much, RD. So Madam Gifty is asking, I always have cold for the past 2 years. Is there any food that can help prevent it?
Cold.
Yes.
All right. So yes, so cold and food. We know that vitamin C rich fruits have been helpful to the management or to the boosting of the immune system that makes the body overcome the cold virus. So yes, drink a lot of oranges, drink a lot of water. If you have guava, take a lot of guava. You can have your grapefruit and your lemon in water too. They could be very, very helpful for the cold. And also in your main meals, you can add a lot of ginger to it as well. Yeah.
Okay, and thank you very much. So there are only 2 questions remaining. So Dr. Jojo wants to say something. He says, great presentation. He says that what are some of the local foods that enhances sexual performance in males? This is a little off from the topic, but I don't know if you have some recommendations for him.
In fact, healthy meals, or normally, except for anatomical reasons where people may be sexually weak, a lot of mid-section fats, people with a high waist circumference, who are depositing a lot of fat at their waist circumference, have been linked to low sexual performance. So first of all, the person, you have to eat healthy meals to keep your weight healthy. when you keep healthy weight circumference, it has a correlation to healthy sexual performance. Over, please.
Thank you very much. So that's the last question. Dr. Nanaya Kumsin is asking, what foods can you suggest for someone whose blood pressure is usually lower than normal?
Okay. So before then, I would have to, that person should see his or her dietitian, because it's important for some analysis, for some questions to be asked. Then the person can be given a meal plan that will boost the blood pressure in the person's context, right? So there's no, I cannot pinpoint to 1 or 2 foods that will just boost the pressure up, or that will increase one's pressure or keep it in the normal. But the person must really be asked some key questions and could be helped with the foods that can maintain healthy blood level, blood pressure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, RD Prince. This has been an exciting moment. Learning about nutrition and heart health from the dietitian at the Tema General Hospital. I'm really grateful that you were able to honor our invitation and you came to teach us these with these insightful thoughts. God bless you. So this production has been by kind courtesy of the KNUST Wellness Centre, located adjacent to the KNUST swimming pool. Our services include medical education, physiotherapy, medical nutrition or diet therapy, sports and exercise, counseling and psychotherapy, recreation, that's game and dance, among other amazing packages. You can pass by anytime, make inquiries, and you can also book a consultation with your dietitian from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Wednesday. And we have a YouTube channel. This is our 3rd edition since we started this event. And the YouTube channel is KNUST Wellness Centre. Just go to have access to our videos, numerous videos, but especially the episodes we've had on this program so far. So you would want to make a time and join the YouTube channel. So please subscribe, share, and tell your friend to tell another friend. As we are ending, I also want to tell you about tomorrow's walk. We are having a health walk and also aerobics at 5:30 at the KNUST Wellness Centre. You would want to make a time with us and come and practice some of the things RD Prince has taught us this evening. So we are wrapping up very soon, and I have been your moderator, Dr. Mrs. Mary Amwakumba, Chemistry Department, and also with the Wellness Center Committee. Next month is going to be another exciting moment where we are going to learn. I won't tell you the topic. Just keep watching wherever you get the information from. On your WhatsApp pages, it will be dropped and you will find out exactly what we are going to learn next month. And I believe that you are going to have another exciting time. Thank you very much for joining. And I appreciate everybody. The committee says thank you for being a part of this event. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.